All right, everybody. Welcome back to CDA League. We have another great day of action coming your way here. Two best of threes. First best of three going to be RNG versus Vici, and we are getting into our traditional, at least for this event, 1v1. I'm Basskip, joined here by Danog. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, not doing too bad at all. 1v1 mid, always an interesting way to to go about it. It's not traditional, but we're not really in traditional times right now, so good to mix it up.
Yeah, this is definitely an unusual matchup, to say the least. I know that these matchups are being selected by the fans, so I don't think that this is something that you'll see a lot of, and I imagine that this is a very one-sided Brood-favored matchup, but who knows? Maybe under the circumstances of or the rule set of a 1v1 mid, maybe it helps Razor a touch, but I don't really think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really too much you can say in terms of in-game what these item builds are going to do, because when you think about it, like, in a mid matchup in a normal game, right, you have to be able to transition later on and have an impact in that way, whereas this, it's exclusively focusing in on, are you going to win your lane? Are you going to get that kill? You know, rotating to other lanes doesn't matter. So you see some not completely traditional styles of item builds, which are pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, Monet just looks like he's trying to buy as many Wraith Bands as he possibly can. Double obs to start, why not? No reason not to. I wonder if the mid-meta would, the 1v1 mid-meta would ever evolve to the point of buying your own sentry to try and get a D-ward, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little bonus, right? And at the end of the day, you're going to get more gold back from it, but you just need to be absolutely sure that they've placed an observer ward there. If you're wasting 75 gold, that can be huge.
For sure. I don't know how to how to call this matchup, because I think it's going to be very, very one-sided. I guess we can give a little bit of context overall to what's been happening in the league. So for anyone who hasn't been watching, this is CDA League. It's been going on for the past couple of weeks. It is just a league format, so every team is playing a best of three against every other team. There's a little bit of, well, it's a decent chunk of money available for every best of three. And then the final standings are just based on the results of the round robin. And then there's also prize money for that. So far, Yang doing fine, getting 3 CS out of the first wave. Monet going to be forced to CS under tower a little bit.
And just speaking about the league itself, you know, we've had a few surprise packets come out of this, you know. There's 10 teams in the league, the 8 that have really been the popular mainstay teams in China, as well as Ocean and Sparking Arrow Gaming, who came through the qualifiers. And Sparking Arrow, they're sitting at the top of the league right now.
Yeah, and it's not like they just have a small number of games played and a perfect record. They are they're actually reasonably far in. They're 6-0, so looking to like they're really gonna land among those top spots. Who are they yet to play? So they yet to play Vici, IG, and Newbie,
yeah,
and that's it. And
that's all this week as well. So
yeah,
pretty exciting to see how they round it out. They haven't lost a series yet, so yeah, keen to see what they're able to do. And on the other end of the spectrum, you've got Keen Gaming sitting down at the bottom without a single series won, so they're going to be looking to turn that around.
Yeah, Keen haven't been doing so well. So today we're covering, like we said, RNG versus Vici, and then later we are going to be doing IG versus Keen. So we'll see if Keen can start some kind of road to recovery in the league. I think even if they won out from here, it wouldn't be that bad, right? They would end with 5-4 overall record, but that would be pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, would it be enough to get them moving up towards the bigger base prize pool? I think that starts out at when you're in 6th, you actually get like a flat amount, and then of course every win gets you a little bit as well.
This matchup is going surprisingly well for Monet, but I think he's also getting some Spider CS, and Yang is getting all like real creep CS, so still definitely favoring the Broodmother. And I think once Brood just gets like level 5, level 6 even, should just be able to dive the Razor under the tower, and there won't really be much he can do about it. Is Monet really just calling it? Has he had enough?
Well, I mean, he's already sitting 400 net worth behind. You're looking at the last instant denies, and
okay,
yeah, I think he sees that it's an uphill battle, and yeah, the voting wasn't kind to him this time around.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is a little bit of a farcical matchup. Let's face it. I don't imagine that there's really any way for Razor to win. Like super free Slark game. Of course, it is always going to come down to gameplay and come down to more than just the matchups.
Yeah, I want to see what RNG choose with their last ban here. Vici's taking a lot of time to consider theirs, and more importantly, Vici was the one that obviously won that solo mid matchup, and they chose second pick as their priority. And they're actually banning out the OD themselves. Okay, I was thinking that maybe that was what they might choose to go for, because OD is one of those heroes that can still burst Slark through when he pops the Shadow Dance. Doom, not a ton of natural mana, same with the Ogre and the Phoenix. So it's something that was capable of doing a lot of damage, but I suppose just not opting to go that direction.
Yeah, I wonder, where does this take us now? What is the hero that they want, that they would be worried about the OD getting taken? I guess the OD is also another hero that just, it punishes their Dragon Knight super hard, it punishes their Morphling super hard. It's in that same vein of like, oh, it's one pick to counter both of our big cores so far.
Yeah, I suppose so. And maybe just also thinking that, look, RNG have shown that they're happy to take some of our heroes that we're really, really confident with. I think Vici have picked the Ogre Magi a ton of times, and maybe that was part of the reason why they went for it so early on, is just to, you know, get it out of Vici Gaming's hands.
Okay, so Prophet Band. RNG definitely looking for their mid, have to pick it without necessarily knowing the matchup. And in fact, there could still, you know, it could be Morphling mid, could be Dragon Knight mid, could be whatever the last pick is mid. And RNG just going to go for a Pugna. Okay, so it also kind of fits into this idea of, hey, we're going to have one guy in the front lines, and he's going to have heals and auras and attack speed, and the Slark is just going to be a monster.
Yeah, has to be careful about getting popped a bit later on by the Morphling, and Vici say screw it to the nerfs. They're still going to go with this Beastmaster and put some pressure on throughout the map. I mean, Ori as well as Eurus become very scary beasts with that Inner Beast aura.
Yeah. So do RNG now try and get the Doom matched up against the Beastmaster? Is that the strat here?
I suppose you're somewhat vulnerable to being harassed out if he goes that heavy bore build. Obviously, you can devour to able to assist with that, but you know, low armor gets punished pretty reasonably well. Yeah,
but you've got the regen, and I think more. Even if the Doom doesn't win that matchup, I think you would just prefer to have the Doom there than the Slark, right? I think Slark would be fine, or reasonably happy playing against, very happy playing against the DK. Indifferent maybe about playing against the Morphling, but would maybe prefer not to be up against the Beastmaster. Just given that the two supports that he has are, like, neither one is amazing at dealing with the Beastmaster, which is why they pick it in this situation. So we'll have to see.
I mean, Doom really is the only one that can deal with the boars at all, right? There's not a ton of, you know, burst damage. It's not like you have, I don't know, for example, a Crystal Nova that can, you know, both harass out with the right clicks with onto the boars and then Q to finish them off. You really need to deal with them because they give a ton of experience early on.
Well, with that, we're getting in. RNG, could they have not figured out how to crop off the bottom of their banner? It's
surely, right?
They were doing so well. This is not as bad as at least they figured out, you know, how the front and the back works. But come on, we just need a little bit of transparency down the bottom. Or maybe I don't know, maybe it's intentional. I don't think so, but
no one likes the white space, you know, let's be honest.
No. Okay, so what do we got? Super starting with an Oov. Definitely Pugna heading mid. Anything else interesting happening in terms of starting items?
I think the most interesting thing is what we don't see. no headdress on any of these heroes. So we're still seeing
Yeah.
it a fair amount in Southeast Asia, but China looking to buck the trend, maybe trying to be a step ahead of the curve and say, look, it's been nerfed enough. It doesn't give the 3 stats anymore. Now only gives 2 health regen. Who knows? Maybe they're just trying to find the next big thing before everyone else.
Yeah. I guess I can still see it on heroes that are actually going to use the headdress to build into something, but I think the days of like a support that doesn't even buy mech or anything buying it are probably dead and kind of good riddance. I thought it was a little bit of a weird laning meta for that that brief time that we had.
It's still absolutely core on the things like the Chen and the IO, you know?
Yeah.
Just because it can build it to the mech, and of course it just gives that passive laning advantage as well with the Divine Favor and the Tether, respectively.
What else we got going on? Beastmaster's got an Orb of Venom to start, so pretty aggressive starts item-wise on both sides, especially if this ends up being the like Ogre plus Slark versus Beastmaster Rubik at bottom. Not a whole lot of regen between those heroes, so I could see some quick kills being traded early on. I do have a pause.
I see the words Carlet there. I assume that's some sort of lag going on because no one's
okay.
DC'd.
Hopefully we can get it all sorted out. We are, well, we were pretty on schedule, but I guess we're still doing okay. It's supposed to start at 5. The 1v1 ended nice and fast, but...
we were before the schedule for a little bit.
Yeah, but now we are beyond the schedule.
We are now beyond the schedule.
Yeah. So, I still think very free Slark game. I think Monet is going to go off here. And I don't think it's even really been fixed with the Beastmaster pick. Vici have really just kind of made their lineup faster, to my mind, and that's maybe where they can punish RNG, because they are a little bit slow to start, and their supports don't do a ton until they kind of get their levels and we start getting more into the mid-game team fights. So if Vici can come out of the laning stage well,
Thanks for that.
maybe they have something to say about this game, but I look at this Slark and think he's just going to have an amazing time.
I wonder what the build is that Monet is going to go. Obviously the Diffusal Blade, very, very popular with the Slark these days, but there's not a ton of mana to steal after that point.
Yeah.
That you get it off these heroes, so it reduces your damage by a fair amount. Maybe just realizing that it's going to be the Essence Shift that's going to be doing a lot of work for him.
It seems like such a... I don't know, Silver Edge is so value against Dragon Knight. I guess it's even... Well, I guess it's not extra value now because his healing is also his passive. Right? So it doesn't really matter, but still always amazing to have. Oh, Yang trying to get in here for the outpost. Yeah. Alright, Super coming in here, getting a little bit of damage out. They need to get Monet in range. DY skilling up the Frost Blast. Bit of damage getting thrown up by September. Super still just going to stay up in their face. Throw out a bit more damage. They are going to turn around and start right-clicking him. And September's making a run for that bounty rune over on the hill. Monet now taking damage as they turn around onto him. But RNG are going to secure themselves all 4 bounty runes to start this out. That was some very nice maneuvering at the start of the game just to force those supports back.
Yeah, all 4 bounty wins, nicely done. It does force out the Pounce level 1 from Monet though, so not going to be quite as potent in lane.
Yeah, I guess they've made maybe... Oh, I wouldn't say that Ignite is suboptimal for Super, but yeah, Monet not going to be super happy about having the Pounce level 1. So... have to see how this goes. Like I said, very aggressive starts on both sides, so should be a lot of trading. Monet does get the boar there. And actually, mid lane Ori has taken a ton of damage from this Pugna already. Courier's coming out a little bit slowly. Does have a salve on it, but he's getting run at. Ooh, uphill miss. Turn around with the Breathe Fire, just trying to keep himself alive, but is it going to be enough? Setsu wants to die for this. It's gonna take too many hits, Setsu! You've gone too far, perhaps he's got the Fairy Fire, but the tower still kills him. Oh no, Setsu. He got greedy and then got baited by the stick charges.
Yeah, I mean, you can never do that against a Dragon Knight early on, especially one that's got the Fairy Fire handy.
Yeah, that was... Ugh. And he was winning the lane pretty hard before that, or at least health-wise. It seemed like Ori was actually doing fine in terms of CS. But there you go. That's really nice for the Dragon Knight. He's gonna pick up a full bracer, and I think at that point Ori
Yang's getting
really
going on.
stabilized this lane. Yeah, Yang down bottom. He's gonna be brought down. Nothing that the Rubik could really do. Is actually a little bit low on mana. Didn't have the telekinesis available. And it will just be first kill for the Slark.
And they're doing a reasonably good job at dealing with these boars. I think some of it, you know, he's a great player, Yang, but the micro on the boars has been a little bit subpar, just letting them get the free hits in on this Ogre Magi.
Yeah, I'll try and keep a little bit more of an eye on it. I doubt mid lane is going to be very interesting for the next few minutes. Top lane, a little bit of a go onto Flywin. Eurus running forward. DY wanted to go for the kill, but Eurus not interested. And September did have the Fire Spirits available, so probably a good call by Eurus there. They might have gotten baited into a bit of a bad situation. Might have been a bit of a turnaround. So, just lots of damage being traded back and forth.
This is not something that you see every day. You've got a Slark building a Ring of Regen early on, as well as a full Magic Wand.
Oh, interesting. I guess the Ring of Regen is nice sustain. We were kind of talking about it back when Ring of Tarrasque was still a bit more relevant, right? It's like, oh, how does Ring of Tarrasque compare to just buying Rings of Regen? And it's not too bad. I do think he's going to get pretty good value out of it, though I don't know if he's actually going to really build it into anything. How's this top lane going? Oh, they're getting aggressive. Eurus trying to turn around with some damage. Sep throwing out the spirits. Does still have 2 more. So Eurus forced to head back. DY taking some more damage. Just tons of trading happening up here. This courier needs to be careful. That is a wand and a wraith band for this morphling. Courier almost being brought down. Just some bad positioning.
Yeah, he's got the value now. He's got that level 3, so he's a lot more safe in the lane with that shift rate being accelerated. Bot lane again, Yang's been gone on, but
yeah, Pounce missed.
Seemed like they're finishing.
They are going to get this boar for free, though. I don't know what Yang was doing summoning that up. Maybe a bit worried that they could have chased a little bit further, but that does hurt. And everyone going to start getting into position, controlling and manipulating these lanes, ready for the banners to start spawning up. DY out in the middle of no man's land, just getting chased down by Flywin. It looks like this is going to be a kill for RNG. Nice little grab for September. And Lich going to have to head back to the fountain, make his way back out, maybe with some more items for the Morphling.
Maybe Yang with that Beastmaster play with summoning the Hawk. It's kind of like those animals that throw their babies out to stop themselves from dying.
Or like a gecko, just ditches its tail. Like, no, just take this. Yeah. Let me live. Lots of pressure under the tower here. Vici not going to get ahead of Super, I don't think, though, in the race to these bounty runes. He's already in a pretty good position, though the dive is continuing onto Monet. September now making his way down here. Dive through. Yang really slowed up, but he does have the boar helping him out a little bit. PYW with a lift and a Fade Bolt, but he can only choose one here. Finally throws out the Fade Bolt just to make sure that they get the kill over onto the Phoenix, but the chase continues. Pounce not going to land, but they've got another slowdown. PYW juking his way through the trees, and Monet getting blocked up somewhat by these creeps as the boar continues to go to work. This is why it's so important to deal with these things. Super even going to throw out the Fire Blast in the end, and PYW will secure that kill and now go and grab both of these 2 bounties.
So really value play there, forcing the rotation through from the Phoenix to the bot side. See a little bit of sucky going on in the mid lane, but Setsu's going to be fine. But yeah, great play from Vici to be able to turn that gank around, only losing 1, and then being able to benefit the rest of the team by transitioning into those bounties.
Yeah. And a pretty even early game so far, though Ori will strike first on getting some building damage over on this mid tier 1 tower. He's already popped up the dragon form, just taking a few pot shots here and there, able to force the Pugna back. It's actually just going to take a moment to go and grab go grab that bounty, though unfortunately DY is the one to come in here and snipe away that double damage.
So overall, last hits favoring, Morphling most of all, but the net worth, it's a lot more even across the board. I suppose Pugna is having a relatively hard time, and a lot of that can attribute to that death that he gave up very early on, trying for the little bit too deep dive.
Yeah, well, so far, like you're saying, looking pretty good. The Beastmaster has a really good amount of farm here. RNG, we speculated whether or not they were going to try and put the Doom up against the Beastmaster. They've just left the Slark down here, and Beastmaster has been loving it. Even with the 2 deaths, he is getting really good CS. September playing pretty aggressively on mid, did pop down this Observer Ward, and they're making some kind of motions towards Ori, but not going to be an easy kill to get. Though I think more than anything, they just want to shove him out of the lane and try and keep this catapult alive so that they can try and bring to the tier 1 tower. Though DY gonna have some stuff to say about that, coming in here looking for the D ward, but September still just protecting everything. So you get the drain, or turn it around with the Dragon Tail. It's gonna be able to interrupt that. Super in from the backline, super deep, getting both of them with the slowdown. DY looking 100% dead, nothing that Ori can do to save him. And Setsu will come in and secure that kill. And this warding actually really interesting with both obs kind of right on top of each other, but even if that hill one does get dewarded, they should be able to keep the other one intact. And up top, Eurus taking some damage off of Flywind, still getting chased down. Doesn't look like he should be brought down, does have enough for the waveform if needed.
He's got the Doom now though, so he has to be very careful about getting caught with that Agimorph going on. And you've got this Necro book now finished up onto Yang, so you can see the 3 heroes rotating down from Vici Gaming. They got some harassed onto this tower a little bit. The lane's kind of pushed in. And now
this is a sick timing.
Yeah.
Like, sub 8-minute Necro 1 for Yang. Doesn't even have the roar yet, unfortunately. And they are still protecting this this Observer Ward at mid. Ori, he really wants it. Dragon Tail goes out, but he got the Ogre! Oh, Setsu gets a bit more drain damage. I guess that was actually the right target. If he'd gotten stunned running in there, that would have been big trouble for him. And PYW does finally come in and deal with that Observer Ward. Their Observer at mid also got dewarded, as mid tier 1 has taken a tiny bit of damage. Maybe not as much as RNG would have hoped out of that rotation.
Balance in all things is always really important. The good thing about all of that aggression, though, is that it forced this PYW rotation. It kind of stops this great timing on the Necro book, so having to play a little bit more passive on Vici's side than they might hope to.
Couple little misclicks here and there. Get a decrep on a creep. Or a pretty safe stock standard item build so far. Treads 1, 2 bracers. Where do you think he goes from here? What build do you want to see from the Dragon Knight?
I mean, what do they lack right now? I suppose catch is always really useful to have. It's very versatile to just have a blink dagger in these team fights, both to accelerate your farm by moving around the map a little further, as well as, get these big catch outs.
RNG with the supports, making more attempts, more motions towards mid. They do want this kill on DY. Ori gonna come running in, but he's only got the Dragon Tail. Not really too much help there, PYW. Nice lift, but September still diving for a little bit more, and now Flywind coming in here. Does not have the Infernal Blade, but they don't even need it, just the rundown. And now trouble for the Dragon Knight. Ori not running far enough away. He's getting slowed down, and none of the other cores coming to help. RNG diving him inside of the base. Now the TPs are coming. Yang will be able to find the turnaround with the roar. They're protecting the Doom for a little bit. He still got it. Will lift the arms towards Eurus, but can't quite get it off. Pugna also now going to get caught. TP interrupted Setsu a little bit slow on the escape, and they will end up losing 2 cores for that dive. It was a cute attempt, but not the best out of RNG at the very end there. Monet gonna get lifted, but bounty's still his.
I mean, cute attempt, but you get 2 kills, you have a Pugna, and you don't just take the easy tower, which is already sitting on 50% HP. I think greed has been the name of the game so far for RNG, and I'm not liking it. It could cost them.
Yeah.
They're going into a more traditional drums build as well on Ori, which it's okay, but I don't think it does all too much in terms of accelerating your farm, at least until you get to that level 2 ultimate. But do you really want to be popping an ultimate to be able to farm? Not really.
Is the argument here maybe that the Morphling is the real carry and he's just kind of the stopgap running around fighting while the Morphling does this thing? Because Morphling is going for a Lincoln Sphere, so this Morph is not going to be online anytime soon.
I suppose so, but I feel like you could just do a lot more with a Blink Dagger as opposed to a Drums.
I'm with you.
You want to be on the front foot. You've already got the great Necrobook timing. You can make stuff happen if you catch someone out.
Yeah, that's true. A little bit more catch, and they would be able to probably find some pretty straightforward kills. Slark is just going for a Shadow Blade here. No sign of that Ring of Regen that he had earlier. And Dragon Knight's still just trying to hold down the fort on the mid lane, but nothing
Pretty
he can
heavy
really
aggression
do.
on this bot side.
Yeah, they are in here pretty deep. Morphling's slapping away at the tier 2 tower.
Just trying to bait out a rotation. They've caught out Pugna here.
Yeah, Phoenix there with the sun, and now the Doom getting thrown out. What kill will they actually find? Rubik looking for the steal. Not going to find anything too useful. Just got his hands on the level 4 Decrepify. Flywind's still charging forward. DK pretty tanky. Doing okay with that Doom on top of him and waiting for his opportunity as Yang also lurking around the sides of this fight. Does have a roar available. Dragon Knight taking a lot more damage, but do they have more in the tank? Setsu running forward, but he's getting stunned up and just gets focused down. The Dragon Knight and the Morphling putting their damage together and bringing down the Pugna, though they've also lost Yang in the midst of all of this. 3 for 1, not really favoring Vici whatsoever. And this is even without the Slark getting the slightest bit involved.
Yeah, very, very handy for them, and it goes to show how little impact some of these heroes are having in these team fights. Lich, still level 4 at the start of that team fight, still level 4.5 now, at 12.5 minutes into the game, and, you know, you've got a Morphling, yeah, he's your position 1 carry, but as you said, he's building up into this Lincoln Sphere, and he's the one that did the most damage for Vici Gaming, so it just feels like they were lacking a little bit in coordination there.
Yeah, they just didn't get anything out of the Beastmaster, right? Like, Beastmaster came in, and I think they were hoping to pincer as the Doom finished on the Dragon Knight, and then they could pop the Roar and everything else, but the timing was just a little bit off, and Flywind did so much damage. This maxed out Scorched Earth, I think it's even been, you know, nerfed a little bit in a couple of the last few patches, but it just does so much damage if you're able to sit there in the middle of the fight and not get focused down. Still more battles for this high ground ward spot, as Rubik will be able to get his hands on the level 1 Bloodlust. Not too bad.
Pretty handy, especially for this Dragon Knight. Allows him to be a lot more than just a big meat shield for the rest of your team.
This is not a good look for Vici, though. I'm worried about what happens when the Slark actually starts getting involved. Eurus is going to morph into the Pugna, but taking some damage on the way back. Almost gets popped. Will be able to get the morph strength off, needing to be careful. He does still have the Ignite on top of him. Setsu almost gets shotgunned down. The Phoenix Sun is here, and that stolen Nether Ward. Setsu puts himself in the ground, trying to blast down this Morphling. Still, 2 supports dead. Vici going to have to head back, collect themselves somewhat. They did also pop the Dragon Form on this DK. So they're still getting held back onto their side of the map pretty effectively.
I love that when that happens to obnoxious heroes like the Pugna, though. It's like playing the reverse card on them. Yeah, it's like, oh, you wanna place a Netherwood? No.
Yeah,
that was prime tip material as well. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, it's like when PA gets a crit dagger on like a spiked carapace or something, and just insta dies.
Yeah, it's the no you play basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, RNG, okay, they're getting the Slark a little bit more involved. They're smoked up. They're looking for some kind of a play. They do have some vision over this Dragon Knight, and definitely a target that they can go for, especially since they also have the Doom at the ready. They catch another glimpse of him. They're going to send Monet forward, just hoping for the pounce. Ori, I don't think he suspects what's going on here. DY, like you said, he's only level 4. There's nothing that he can really do. He is going to throw out the Frost Shield. He casts every single spell that he's got, but he's just going to be one more stack for this Slark. Heading forward. Wait, did he even get it? Did he do any damage to him?
I don't think he did.
Oh, well, that's okay.
Couple of kills, that's the important thing, and really nice play as well from Setsu. I know he wasn't in the team fight at all, but just being that constant pressure down on the bot side of the map while also playing it very safely means he doesn't get caught out. It does draw a couple of heroes away because you never want to leave a Pugna alone in the lane. That tower's going to blow up really quickly, and as a result, able to get a couple of free kills.
This constant pressure kind of between the two rune spots from RNG has really stopped Vici getting over into the... stopped them getting over into the Radiant, jungle at all. Like, switching it over to their vision at this point, I would expect there to be a dire ob somewhere in the Radiant jungle, that they would be over here farming, but they've just been getting dewarded constantly. And it's been really hard to get down into this bottom side of the map, and now they're going to punish them for trying. Another rotation down, Roar thrown out just defensively, Yang running back. Necro minions also losing their lives here, and Monet's not done. He does have another pounce. They get the slowdown. He's lining it up, not quite going to close the gap. PYW trying to figure out what he can do here, and it looks like Yang will just be able to survive, limping his way back to the tier 1 tower, but RNG sending a very clear message that there is no home for Vici on this Radiant side of the map.
Right before that mid gank that they tried to do with the pincer movement you mentioned with the Beastmaster, they actually had Beastmaster and Morphling pushing out into that bottom tower. There was a siege wagon right next to the Radiant tier 2 tower, and instead of fully committing to it, they chose to rotate through onto the mid side. So the one chance that they had to try and make something happen on this bot lane, and it was squandered. So that's a huge loss for them.
Yeah, and they still haven't been able to take this mid tier 1, which is one of the things you would be hoping for when you've got a Dragonite on your team.
And a Beastmaster.
Yeah, Beastmaster with a sub 8-minute Necrobook. Oh, this poor Lich. DY still only level 5. He is just absolute food for the Slark. 3 points up in the Bloodlust. Monet's attacking nice and fast, getting the stacks going, and his game is just looking so free. They are wrapping around on Setsu at the mid lane. Might be able to run his way over to his team, but there is a lot of lockdown and a lot of damage. They quickly pop him. It will be PYW grabbing that kill. And Vici...
And he's morphed into the Pugna, so that's some extra tower taking.
It's value.
Oh, and a stolen Nether Blast as well from the Rubik, so we're going to see a lot of them coming out.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Okay, there you go. That's the demolition tactics that they needed.
Yeah. And now as well, bottom lane, it's all the way pushed in. You've got a few heroes caught on this top side. Ogre Magi doesn't actually have a TP. So they're going to have to run all the way down to try and stop this from happening.
Alright, they're smoking. They do have Doom available on Flywin. Might be able to run down and make something happen here. Gotta be thinking about those bounty runes as well. Okay, the Glyph comes out now. Pugna's gonna come in here and just clear things out, but Vici do not have the vision to make any kind of a play in this area, and Yura's just going to swap over to the other side of the map, sending a very clear signal that Vici not looking to take this fight. DY popped the smoke to get the Beastmaster out of there, but Monet is still hot on his tail. Does have the pounce available, and that is going to be a quick kill as Super secures it up with the Fire Blast. PYW actually going to get caught on the trees? He showed himself for just a second during that earlier chase. They find him, and they will bring him down. 2 quick kills for RNG, and now 16-7 the scoreline.
Really greedy by PYW. You know, as you said before, the Lich has just been food for the Slark. There was no way he wasn't going to be going down, and you know, showing yourself to get a telekinesis off for a half a second, not worth it if you're going to be losing yourself as a result.
Monet deciding if he wanted the courier there. He's just going for a BKB. They've already got a BKB, 10 seconds on the Doom. Dragon Knight's almost got his BKB, and Morphling still a fair chunk of change away from his Ethereal Blade. Pugna nice and fast with these boots of travel, Flywin charging forward. They do get the roar out. Beastmaster keeping himself alive a little bit longer, but I think the last 2 or 3 roars that we've seen out of Yang have been strictly defensive. Really has not been applying that much pressure.
I think we've only seen one offensive one, really, which was that turnaround when they tried to chase the Dragonite up onto the tier 3 mid.
Yeah. Oh, boy. And there's just so much pressure. This Pugna, even with a couple of deaths, has really held them off the other side of the map. Morphling completely morphed up. Does have the Ghost Scepter to keep him alive a little bit longer, and we'll be able to walk this one off, but this is pressure. This is stopping him from farming, and he is the only real current win condition on the Vici side. Even if the Dragon Knight gets absolutely huge, I just think his matchups this game are so tough. And that's what happens when you pick Dragon Knight first, right? You are going to get at least a little bit counterpicked.
Leaving yourself open, yeah, to get counterpicked. He's getting closer and closer to that BKB. Any other key item timings that they're waiting? I mean, at least they have the Chain Frost now on the Lich, which is always useful. Oh boy.
Poor DY. He's level 7. At least he's got boots. I've seen worse support situations than this, when you're like Yeah, 30 minutes in, level 6, no boots. 13 deaths to your name or something.
I think everything just against the Slark is amplified so much more.
Yeah. Well, it's the two supports can't even play like buddy system, right? Even if they try and play together, the Slark is just gonna kill one of them, and the other one might be able to TP or something. But a bit of a tower trade being threatened, but September is down here holding on, and could get some mass TPs going on if RNG want to take this fight, though. Maybe not interested in, once again, Ogre getting caught out without a TP scroll. Vici looking for something behind the tower, perhaps, but again, not feeling confident in their ability to take this team fight. They do want the Pugnet, they can get it. There's the lift, good burst damage. Chain Frost also deployed. They do get the roar out into the Phoenix, but that's just going to create the opportunity for Monet to go in here and go ham. Decent damage onto Yang, but he runs away. Supernova not in the best position as now Flywind is going to start chasing through. He does have his BKB available. Slark also popping his BKB. Just going to start going to work, but he gets brought down. He didn't pop the Shadow Dance. Monet, what happened? Too much burst damage, and now Vici finding an easy opportunity to chase. They've got the lockdown on the Doom. They've got a sentry underneath the tower. More chain stun. Super in September. 2S, nothing that they can do to help out. And Vici will just go chasing for a tiny bit more DY. Thinking about the Sinister Gaze. Is going to drag him back in. Dragon Knight pretty fast. He's got one more drum charge. The Glimmer Cape helping out somewhat, but they still want Super. Do need to be careful. Pugna's respawning, and not going to make the same mistake that RNG did earlier. Just backing themselves out now. DK taking pretty big damage off of this Sunray, but they need that Slark respawn. And Vici are going to get away with that.
Well, we talked about in the pre-game the sort of things that were happening with these mid-latch-ups where Knoxville was saying it was super snowbally type of meta, or sorry, super comeback type of meta, and it was the style of game where, you know, there is the capability for you to kind of win a game. I made the point where you kind of lose a game based on that, and that was exactly that team fight. As you mentioned, Monet not popping the Shadow Dance. As well, they used the Doom onto the Lincolns on the Morphling, which was a huge waste.
Well, we're back where Monet died. He spots Yang again. Lift from PYW, trying to help him out. Yang now with the Roar. They're really controlling this Slark very well, but the two supports will still be able to finish off that kill. I'm wondering if Monet just got caught out by, maybe there was just an adaptive strike that he didn't see coming and wasn't able to get the Shadow Dance off. There is actually a Nether Shawl on this Morphling, and he does now also have the Ethereal Blade coming out, so Eurus is actually going to be doing a lot of damage with the shotgun. He's going to be forcing BKBs non-stop this game.
Yeah, and you're making it so that you're not super vulnerable as well. We talk about the extra magic damage that it's able to do, but the magic resistance even more impactful for something like a Morphling. When you're Agi-morphed, you've got a ton of armor, right? You're not going to go down like that. Or if you're strength morphed, you got a ton of HP, so you're fine.
RNG are flirting around here, but they don't have the Pugnet. He's all the way over at top. They've got the lift onto the Phoenix. He's already dead. They do get the Doom onto the Dragon Knight, but the two supports now down. They're stacked on top of each other. The BKB's getting popped. Monet now forced into using the Shadow Dance. PYW tries for the deny, but can't quite get it. Dragon Knight a little bit too tanky, and now Monet trying to retreat, needs the reset. They are going to lose one more. Eurus with the triple, and now he's lining up for another. They will get the blink away on the Pugna. No damage onto Setsu. And that's a 3-for-1 fight overall. Morphling really starting to find his footing in this game.
Yeah, great positioning by Vici to be able to catch that out. And even with some terrible luck with the Chain Frost bouncing onto a neutral creep, despite it being like right on top of 3 RNG heroes, they were able to take the fight in really clinical fashion, forcing the Doom out onto an already dragon formed Death Knight. The ideal scenario. So just a little bit of misplays coming out over and over again from RNG are starting to cost them their early lead.
Yeah, and not the best positioning from the Phoenix, right? They should have. I think they kind of knew that there was vision there after the Slark was sort of the Slark was getting spotted, but he didn't see any heroes. And then the Phoenix kind of walks forward. If they'd gotten the Supernova off, I think it's a very different fight. But September just getting lifted and immediately focused down. Yang with a little bit of split push pressure down bottom. And yeah, really feeling now with the Morphling so online that we have a little bit more of a game on our hands. Ooh, PYW gets the lift off midway through that pounce. It's gonna keep him alive. And now he's got a Force Staff. Very nice.
Yeah. I mean, you don't pick a Phoenix first in the entire draft unless you really know how to play it, and they had a good positioning to actually take that team fight, so he could supernova on top of this high ground here where the sentry ward's sitting right now, but as you said, just not so great positioning, getting caught out, getting bursted down before he was able to do that.
Yeah. What's our neutral item situation currently? So everyone's picking stuff up now, so we'll keep an eye on it. Vici actually already have all of their tier 3s. So they've got a Titan Sliver, which is coming over to the Dragon Knight. Morphling's keeping the Nether Shawl. And they've got some spider legs on the Beastmaster, who's also rocking a gem currently. So Vici really making a bid for the map control. That plus their Necro 3 should really be able to get complete control vision-wise in these fights, though.
They know what's going on.
Yeah, Ori inside of the pit does have a blink. Monet's looking at him, sizes him up, starts getting a couple of stacks, pops the BKB perhaps a little bit early. They're trying to focus on the Dragon Knight. He has been doomed up. If they can reset this fight, that would be great, but no way out for the DK. Pounce forward from Monet. He does actually latch it onto the Beastmaster. More stacks coming his way as he now pops the Shadow Dance, moving up into the high ground. Eurus, he's already used some of his spells, trying to focus down something earlier. Won't be able to pop the Slark, and now they lose one more. Eurus getting chased. Lincoln's has been popped. He is morphing strength, trying to find his wave out, and he gets pounced. The TP gets interrupted, and looks like that should be the end of him here. He does have the E-Blade, surviving a little bit longer. Should be able to wave up into the high ground. He morphs into the Slark, gets the pounce, now gets the wave form, and that might be enough to get him out of here, though. Setsu's still chasing. Lincoln's getting popped. Flywind trying to close the gap. His blink is coming off cooldown. Eurus looking for another jump. Does get leashed. Does get stunned and will be brought down at the end of the day. And that is a wicked 6 streak ended.
Wicked sick streak ended, and honestly some really great individual plays there from Eurus to try and get away from that that gank there. Could be that it causes enough of a distraction that now all of these heroes on Vici Gaming are up. If they wanted to go for the buyback, they could maybe contest Roshan, but no.
The double damage.
He just bought out as well, so yeah, the double damage, he just bought out, not in a position to be able to do it anymore.
And poor DK just didn't get to do anything that fight, and you're starting to see some of the downsides of the Beastmaster as a hero a little bit as well. Can be really impactful in the earlier stages, but not going to bring a lot of sustained damage. The roar was pretty ineffective in that last fight. I can understand why he's gone for the pipe, and you know they've gone for the blink on the Dragon Knight, so he's sort of a little bit more of the initiation, but that fight just not playing out in the way that Vici wanted it at all.
Monet's going hunting. They've pinged out exactly where they think PYW is, and he's going to find him.
I don't know how he gets out of this one. It's just going to be another stack. Nice, easy
That's some
pickup.
insane teamfight presence. Like that only comes from, or not teamfight presence, map presence. That comes from reviewing scrims over and over again, seeing the positionings that supports like to take to be able to get out of these aggressive movements, and really nice play there by Monet. He's TPing in really aggressively too on top of this outpost on the top side.
I mean, with the Aegis, he can really just make any play that he wants at this point.
And you talked about the DK, you know, you don't have too much in the form of and same with the Beastmaster, like the sustained damage. It feels like everything going out is going to be benefiting Monet here. Oh, he's going to get caught out underneath this Necrobook minion.
But really not a whole lot that they can do. It's just, they run for it. Yang popping his spiders like, needs to really try and keep this gem intact.
Yeah.
Flywind chasing after him is going for the Ags. DY. Oh, poor guy. Just going to be another death for him. Monet quick to snap that up, grab himself another permanent stack, and Vici, the rest of the team, is just slinking around on the other side of the map. It's all that they can really do.
Yep. So yeah, it just feels like, as you said before, it's not necessarily a free Slark game, but he's very much coming into his own right now as to how the laning stage went, and now how it's occurring as it goes later and later into it.
Yeah, and he's just going to be so difficult to kill. I do think they had, they had a slight opportunity. And if they had another core in an okay position, I think Vici would actually still very much be in this game. But, the Dragon Knight, he doesn't even have that many deaths, but he was given a very difficult role this game. The reason that the Morphling can be so big is that they had someone being a little bit more sacrificial and coming to these early fights, and now he does go jumping in. They're looking for the Pugna first. Can they focus him down? The Glimmer Cape helping to keep him alive. Nice supernova positioning as Flywind keeping them locked down in the front lines. Yang won't be able to escape. Dragon Knight, even with the BKB, not much that he can do since there is this Doom. Monet diving in deep, and they actually keep Yang alive. Defensive plays from Eurus. Good E-Blade. And RNG now forced to take a second and reset. They did take a bit of damage, though regen starts to kick in. Lots of BKBs and spells popped, but no kills in that fight.
It's crazy that you could take that sort of engagement, pop absolutely everything. I mean, what's left? Basically just the Roar? That's about it. Chain Frost just came back online, so Vici in a good position to be able to try and take something now, but I mean, that double damage, getting a little bit lucky on Monet. He's going on the hunt again.
Yeah, I mean, great defensive reactions from both teams. Oh, blink away. Alright. But yeah, good, really good immediate Glimmer Cape from the Ogre onto the Pugna. And then that E-Blade, nice quick thinking from Eurus, but both teams definitely playing a little bit more on the defensive in that fight. And what do we got? Pugna does have Boots of Travel available to come in here, so it's not like he's completely isolated from his team. There's a little bit more of the double damage. Vici just playing around with the idea of a fight here. I don't think they actually want to take it. Still 30 seconds to go on the Elder Dragon form. TP now coming in from the Lich. Dua able to rejoin the fight, and some decent damage shotgunned out onto Monet, keeping him on his toes. Eurus just going for some more right click. But still, what, another 40 seconds on this Aegis. I think Vici just hoping to hang around here to find their opportunity. If they can get the perfect timing, could make an attempt on the Slark's life right as that Aegis is getting reclaimed.
Yeah, only 30 seconds left, maybe going for one more push in with that creep wave. It'd be a little bit greedy if they went for it, but we've seen that RNG aren't ones to shy away from that kind of play.
He needs to be careful with the mana as well. I've seen Setsu a couple of times hitting the Slark with the life drain just to get his mana pool back up, but we've got only 5 seconds left. Monet does commit, feeling confident with his team there backing him up. And okay, now, yeah, RNG backing all the way up as that Aegis gets reclaimed. They're just going to wait for these items to get delivered on the Slark. He does not have a buyback available, just chooses to completely buy up the S&Y. And really tanking up here, going for S&Y, going to be going for the Satanic next. I guess just relying on the stacks more than anything to do the damage in the fights.
Yeah, like we were saying towards the start, the Diffusal Blade not really feeling like the item this time around for the Slark, despite it being one of those mainstays for him, and got a little bit lucky as well with his neutral item RNG, Paladin Shield, coming in really handy for these longer fights.
There's a little bit of vision here for Vici, but and they were trying to smoke out, but it did get intercepted. They do get a jump over onto the Morphling. Can he make his way out here? Does get force staffed. He's going to be okay. And Vici still very much trapped inside of their base, trying to spoon feed a little bit of farm over onto Ori so he can pick up this Halberd. Eurus is still just going for a full Daedalus on the Morphling. What talents has he gone for? So he did go for the waveform attacks targets and the 20-second morph duration. And Slark once again on the prowl. Who have they found? BKB up on the high ground. BKB against BKB as they now just throw the Doom over onto the Dragon Knight. Slark finds his target in the back lines, forcing out the defensive waveform from Eurus, who's now morphing up all agi, looking for his opportunity. They've got the heals on the Slark. Dragon Knight now going back for him. They won't keep him alive. That Sunray just scorching through him, and we've already had a buyback from DY, but Flywind heading in, chasing after. Morphling just going to pop the BKB and try and fight this one out. Can they actually bring down the Doom? Do they have the vision? Flywind being kept alive. Yang trying to finish the kill, but Setsu's there. He's the medic. Yang pops the BKB and tries to make a run for it, but Monet's still healthy. He is going to get lifted. Yura's still from the sidelines, but he can't really commit as his team is still getting picked off one by one, and now they've got a Supernova deep inside of their base. RNG head up onto the high ground. You're still looking for some kind of an opportunity, and these RNG heroes taking plenty of damage, but just can't quite be brought down by the side of Vici Gaming. And now they jump in looking for a little bit more. Morphling stunned up, broken. Does lay in with the auto attacks. He's getting jumped. Dagon, good damage. Will be able to wave himself back. That is the tier 3 falling now. RNG finding their opportunity. Very low on Monet. We'll just take a second. Take a breather, get some more health back. Roar now out onto the Ogre, just hoping for the free kill. Eurus rejoins the fight, puts him in the ground, and they do also have the DK respawning in just a second. So it seems like RNG will just have to settle for the tier 3 tower, not going to go for anything further.
I'm really liking this balance in these team fights from RNG as well. So Setsu playing a great game, supporting his Slark as much as he can, who already has the Shadow Dance regen if he needs to back out completely, but just enabling him to stay on the front lines with that Aether Lens, healing him up, making sure that he's fighting fit, able to use the Paladin Sword to make stuff happen, and then of course the level 5 Dagon as well. I think he got 3 or 4 of them off in that team fight, which meant that you have to be so cautious as that Morphling trying to get the Agi shotgun off onto people.
Yeah, he wants to be fully morphed. Oh, dive away, but they still land the stun. Yang does not have the roar, but they've got a lift, and Vici will be able to grab that quick pick. Did pop the Elder Dragon form for that. So let's see if they can get anything else. They do get a nice little ward down from DY.
Rosh up in 5 seconds as well. No buyback on the Phoenix for another 55 seconds, as he's very, very close to picking up that Scythe of Vice on a pause for Phoenix.
Yeah, he's been working on it for a while. He's had the Vessel for quite some time, but a couple of deaths here and there, and I don't think he's been getting too many kills. But yeah, the Roshan definitely going to be the big prize. Aegis and Cheese up for grabs. And Eurus, kind of tricky decision for him. Does almost have this Daedalus, and okay, does just completely buy up for the Daedalus. Not going to have buyback available for this next fight. And both teams pretty light on the buybacks, in fact. Vici mostly because they used a couple of them in the last fight, and RNG just opting to grab items instead of trying to save for buyback currently.
Thinking they're in a very commanding position. That Helpin's Halberd, the timing on the usage of that is going to be so important now on this Dragon Knight. If he's able to get it off onto the Slark without the BKB coming into the equation, really important for their success moving forward.
Do they have any more wards on Vici? Yeah, so they're not going to have a ward available for this Roshan pit, but at least they've got the Hawk. That's going to help out a little bit, though as I say that, RNG very quickly dealing with it. They've got this buffed up Infernal Blade ready for Flywin. And there's so much control for the Morphling now. Basher on the Slark, and they've got the Hex. These are items that haven't really been unveiled to the enemy team just yet. And Eurus, you can tell he wants to commit super hard to a fight, right? If he can get like a good waveform into finding his footing in the middle of the fight and just pop BKB and start laying out auto attacks, that's going to be amazing. But just has to be the completely right opportunity, and he really needs his front line in the right position. They're trying to take this high ground here. RNG poking, prodding. What can they find? They don't get the right target. That's the Mud Golem. Instead, they're now just focusing onto the Spark, and he's dead! Monet didn't get anything off, completely focused down. Now they've got the stolen Doom over onto Doom himself. Dragon Knight flapping behind. He's just fine. Big crit from Eurus with the auto attack as well. That is a fast double kill. And Vici Gaming finding a huge opportunity here as they're going to be the ones to claim the Roshan. So much damage from the Morphling.
So much damage from Morphin as well. We talked about it a bit before with the buyback status. Setsu, this is really ballsy from him to even be going anywhere close to this Roshan pit. He doesn't have buyback, only sitting on about 400 gold, so if he's to go down, that could actually be GG for them.
So are we now favoring Vici at this point? Is that fight enough to completely turn this game? What even first of all, what even happened to Sark? Did he just get lifted and then like 2 crits and that was the end of him?
He just got popped. You know, the rest of his team, even though you've got the Keen Optic as well as the Aether Lens on the Pugna, wasn't in range to be able to protect from all of this burst damage.
Vici just marching down lanes. Tier 2 dead, Tier 2 dead, heading towards the high ground. They're gonna pop the Hex onto the Morphling, forcing into Morph a little bit more strength. Beastmaster's already up on the high ground. They're gonna get the lift back onto the Ogre. I think Super should be okay. Eurus jumps in, but it's just to steal the Morph on the Pugna and start doing a little bit more damage to this tower. Tier 3 absolutely melting with the help of the Necrobook and the Inner Beast Aura, and with the respawns, Vici still showing a lot of respect for RNG. Phoenix with the big dive through, trying to keep them here. Dragonite not quite able to escape just yet, but they can't quite match the mobility on the Phoenix, and RNG are just going to have to let them go.
Yeah, I mean, with the Phoenix, now that he's hit up onto his level 20, he's got the improved range on the Icarus dive, and with that Scythe of Ice, gives them another form of initiation. You've already got the Blink Dagger on the Pugna, you've already got the Blink Dagger on the Doom, so they're able to really quickly pick someone off if they're able to catch someone out in an inopportune position. The thing that I'm mindful of is it still doesn't really deal with this Morphling that well. You're still going to have to buy up some sort of item that's going to pop that Linken's before you can get the sheep off.
Yeah, they're going to have to somehow coordinate between the Pugna and the Phoenix, I suppose, which is not going to be easy. And Pugna really doesn't want to be blinking in either. We've got our Tier 4 neutral items coming up. Both teams with a Spell Prism. We've got a Flicker. I guess maybe a little bit unfortunate for... Who got the Flicker, actually? That was Dire, right? Yeah, so we got a Flicker on Rubik, Spell Prism DK, Illusionist's Cape on the Morphling. The things are getting swapped around a little bit right now. And there's actually a Prince's Knife on the Phoenix. So September with a lot of lockdown available if he can put everything together properly.
What is the cheapest item that'll actually pop that Linken's if the Phoenix wanted to build up into
Yules?
it? 4-Staff? 4-Staff's a little cheaper.
Yeah, 4-Staff just a little bit.
Maybe he could go a Dagon as well. I mean, that's super greedy, but
right,
gives that extra little burst potential.
Oh my god, Rubik still has Doomstone, by the way. And that's for a little while longer, actually. That could just decide the game. I'm gonna leave it on buyback status. I don't know if we've got much else to show in this game. Really just gonna come down to the next couple of team fights. Morphling with a Satanic in the backpack, waiting for his Aegis to get popped in this next fight. And I was saying just before that fight, right, all Morphling wants to do is he wants to waveform in and find his opportunity. Now with an Aegis, he can just go crazy. Like, Eurus can just waveform into the backlines and know that his team is always going to be able to back him up if he's in a little bit too deep.
Yeah, with the waveform charges as well. You know, he doesn't even need to completely rely on his team. So we've shown some incredible individual play so far. They're TPing back to try and deal with this. They
got the roar on the Doom. Flywind though just gonna run for it, though he is still running right along the path with the Hawk. Can he get the blink off? That's gonna be the big question. The axe is getting thrown out, and now they've got the lift from PYW. No way out, and that is going to be another kill for the Morphling.
Yeah, good luck trying to get away from a Beastmaster to try and get your blink off. You know, he's was chased down. It was Spider v Spider for a little bit in those trees there, and the rotations coming through from Vici, enough to repel the pressure coming onto the bottom lane.
And look at this, your boy DY, he's got himself a magic lamp.
All right,
he's got 12 deaths so far, but maybe this will help prevent the 13th.
Yep, swapped out the Nether Shore to be able to hold on to it, so that's kind of nice.
No hand-me-downs for him. This is a fully fledged, well, I don't know if I want to call it a full-fledged tier 4 item, but we can go with it. PYW looking for the lift, but immediate blink back. Monet walking forward. They do get the Hex up onto the Rubik, but they've got the drag on the other side. DY with the Sinister Gaze pre-casted on the Phoenix. September thinking that he was completely safe with the dive. Not the case, and now he is dead for 70 seconds. They just have to let this lane of Rax go. And Morphling, he's not done. Eurus is hungry for more buildings. Yang marching forward. They're going to throw in a little bit of damage. Slark getting locked down. Now damage onto the Beastmaster. BKB getting popped. They will get the disarm onto the Morphling, preventing the damage for now, but Monet needs to reset. He does not have the Shadow Dance available. Morphling takes a second. Needs to get out of there. Does not have the Aegis anymore. And with the Doom respawning, Vici gonna play this safe, back up, go and grab these bounty runes. and then maybe make another attempt a little bit later.
Yeah, the greed just coming through. Phoenix as well there was about 150 gold away from his buyback, and that was when the bounty runes had just spawned, so this Pugna has the boots of travel, and maybe if this was a month or two ago, he would have been able to TP out, grab one of those, and come straight back, but not the case anymore.
Yeah, man, new boots of travel are... I get it. I totally get it, but it is sad.
You get it from Ice Frog's perspective?
Yeah, I get why it was changed. I think they were a little bit too strong, but their new boots of travel are a little bit feels bad in some ways, or at least I was.
He got them pretty early into the game, right? He got like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, he's got a lot of value,
way too early.
Especially with the TP cost going back in the direction of actually going up. But ooh. What do we got RNG trying to get outside of the base. This Morphling has taken over in such a big way. They haven't been able to lock him down a single time. Eurus's positioning. Sure, he's got some really good heroes to frontline for him, and they've got the Hawks constantly scouting, but even with all of that, I have to say that this Morphling has been really on point, not getting caught out. Because all it would take is a well-placed Hex, or a good, blink in, his Lincolns gets popped, he gets doomed, something like that. That'd be a really easy win. Oh no, again, September gets the lockdown onto the Beastmaster, but he gets lifted. He does manage to get the Supernova off. Can they defend it? Morphling just laying in with the auto attacks will finish that one off. Doom completely evaporating. Way too much damage from this Morphling. Make it a triple kill. Eurus will not be denied. He's got his butterfly now on top of everything. And he is just laying everyone low. Like, you just open up the fight recap, and it's all Morphling all day, baby. 2 buybacks coming in now. They're going to put Ori up onto the high ground just to deal with this range Drax. Eurus trudging his way down bottom lane. Doesn't have any boots anymore. So taking him a second to get here. Are they going to give him the spider legs, maybe? Or is he going to keep the illusionist cape? I guess they've got the Stolen Bloodless to get the lift now. Ogre, danger, waveform forward. Morphling, can they do anything about him? Flywind taking so much damage. Monet's dead, does have a buyback available. They've got the Doom out, but once again, it's just on this Dragon Knight Setsu poking, prodding. Morphling just gonna morph his way back up. He's okay. Eurus still surviving, way too tanky. They do get the jump onto the Pugna. Lincoln's not there to protect him, and Super had enough. Eurus putting his stamp, putting his mark on this game. That's gonna be the end of it, and it will be GG called.
Another comeback game coming through. I mean, it was sitting at about 85% win chance for RNG at 38 minutes into the game, and what a difference 10 minutes makes.
Yeah, wow. Just a couple of... What do you think it comes down to? Is it just a couple of poorly executed fights on RNG's
poorly
part?
executed fights, yeah. A few missed usages of the BKB, not using the Shadow Dance, taking fights perhaps a little bit too early. In those last 2 encounters, Monet was just a little bit short from his level 25, which would have been really useful. Same with Ogre Magi, very, very close to his level 20, which could have been another 60 attack speed for the Slark with the Bloodlust. Maybe that could have been the difference to try and, steal some of that agi, steal some of those stats really early on and limit the effectiveness of some of these Vici heroes. But I don't know, it just really all came together. DY stopped dying. That was it.
Right.
That was the big game changer.
His big 9.3k hero damage that game. Yeah, that was a really just an excellent performance from Eurus, right? Got to give some props to the team as well. Good positioning, but he really played his heart out to close that one out. And that was always going to be the strat for Vici, right? This lineup was always going to be about, let's just make some space for our Morphling. Let's let him do his thing. And that was enough to win it for them in the end. 53.1k hero damage. Dragon Knight, decent net worth at the end. Only 16k hero damage. Actually, got outperformed on the damage by Rubik. So PYW actually had a pretty sick game as well.
Yeah, pretty solid. A couple of times where he got caught out, but at the end of the day, this was the let's enable Eurus, and he only died that one time after a disastrous Roshan fight. So, yeah, kudos to Vici Gaming taking game 1.
Yep. All right, guys, we're going to head to a break. Thank you so much for watching, and join us back here in a couple of minutes for Game 2 of Vici versus RNG here for CDA League.